the booking process.
What is it for Disney Cruise Line? We're going to get into all of that and more. This is part 2 of Disney Cruise Line travel agents and the booking process. Travel agents has its own other video right here.
Let's talk about the booking process. So with Disney, when you go to the website, so there's a few ways you can book a trip through Disney. We talked about the travel agent already. Then second, you can go through Costco. And with Costco, you can do it, but you may be bound to certain elements. And for our family, where we have food allergies, we have a medically complex kid, we have some disability involved, like I can't really justify going through Costco because of the amount of variables involved with our family. The amount of times we will need to call Disney and we need to get in touch with, guest services or whatever. Costco can be great if you are a basic, like nothing special about your family. You just want to book your trip and be done with it. There's not a lot of things that, I don't know, like things can go wrong for anybody. But if you're batting 1,000, go for it. Use Costco. It can be a great way to save money, especially if you have to have a membership. So if you have a membership, yes. And if you have like very basic needs, it can be a great tool to use. I don't use it. My family doesn't use it because our family is a little bit more complex. So that's Costco. So we already mentioned you can use a travel agent in Costco. You can call Disney if you want. So you can just pick up the phone. There's phone numbers on the website, and you can call Disney and be like, hey, I'm interested in this itinerary. Can you help me figure this out? And somebody on the phone will walk you through it and book your cruise. Or you can go online. So the online process, you're going to go online. You're going to go through the search engine situation here. And in the search, you're going to need to know your dates. You're going to need to know the port you're sailing out of, your destination, how many people are sailing. And then it's going to take you, like it's going to show you like a list of all the available cruises. And then it's going to take you to the rooms. And you guys, you think you have 4 options for rooms. 4 options for rooms, right? Inside, Oceanview, Verandah, Concierge. No, nope, forget it all. You don't. You go to, inside room, and then there's like more staterooms, and you're like, what is this? So we got to talk about it. First of all, in case no one has told you, these rooms are small. These rooms are not big hotel rooms. These rooms are small. They are bigger than a dorm room, definitely bigger than a dorm room. But they are not big. You are going to feel it when you get on this ship. You're going to be like, whoa, this is small. If you need to go see a room tour, I've got a few here somewhere. But I think I might be sharing accessible staterooms, which probably isn't going to be helpful because those rooms are huge. Okay, so staterooms are small, number 1. And number 2, when you walk into a stateroom, there are a few different types of staterooms. So we're going to learn some new key terms here. And the first term we're going to learn is deluxe. And deluxe just means split bathroom. And what is a split bathroom? It means that there is a toilet and a sink in one bathroom and a shower/bath and a sink in another bathroom. So you got 2 doors, there's like a wall here, and on one side, you've got like a little room here with a tub/shower and a sink, and then you have, another door, like wall here, another door. You open the door, you got toilet, sink here. Okay, that's what deluxe means. So if you have a standard inside room, there's just one bathroom, one sink, one toilet, all the things, one thing. If you get an inside deluxe, that means there's the split bath. The second term we need to know is family. Family on Disney Cruise Line means more space. It does not mean it can hold 5 people. It means it could, but it doesn't mean it does. So just so that you know, when you look at family, the room may only have space for 4 people. It may not have space for 5. So if you are a family of 5 and you're looking for a room, you definitely need a family room, but not all family rooms are going to accommodate 5 people. There's your tip. Oh, pro tip. If you stayed this long, you're going to hear the pro tip. Pro tip is that if you're a family of 5, a lot of times the price of the deluxe family Oceanview Verandah is more expensive than 2 staterooms. So if you are a family of 5, you can always split into 2 rooms, and it may end up being cheaper than one deluxe family ocean view veranda. So there's your pro tip. Okay, going back to the rooms. So inside rooms, there are two types of inside rooms. There's a standard, which is just a basic, small, whatever. And then there's the deluxe, which is the same size room, but just with the split bath. Special note about inside rooms on the Dream class of ships. On the Dream class of ships, the inside rooms have a magic porthole. You're like, what the heck is a magic porthole? Well, you guys, it is a big round TV, maybe screen, big round screen that looks like a porthole. And you hit the button, you turn it on, and it shows you the view from the front of the ship, which is amazing. But what makes it really amazing is periodically, like every few minutes, they will have random Disney characters just like, scurry across the screen or float on by, like the house from Up, just like floating on up. It is amazing. I don't understand why they didn't put this on the Wish class ship, because this was like the best thing on the Dream class of ships. So on the Dream and on the Fantasy is where you can find these, and it is absolutely, it's a game changer. I will stay in an inside room all day, every day on those ships because they are fantastic. On the Wish class ships, they didn't do that. They also didn't do Midship Detective, and they were wrong to do those things. They were just wrong. So we'll leave that beef. Disney, if you're listening, put in the magic portholes on the Wish class ships. I don't need a Moana theme room. I want the magic porthole, okay? Okay, moving on. I got distracted. And then we go to the Oceanview. Okay, so on the Magic class ships, there is only the deluxe Oceanview. There is no family deluxe family Oceanview rooms. So they only have up to 4 people in the Oceanview. On all the other classes of ships, so Dream on up, they have ones that are extended where you could have a family of 5 in a Oceanview room. Or, not all. Some of them just have more space without the extra bed. Okay, so verandas. So on the veranda, you open the veranda and you're like, what is all this? There's tons of categories for verandas. There's partial view, there's a white wall, there's all these different things. And you know what? Whatever. I get it. You want to be upfront with what you're getting, what you're paying for, but it's just a lot. So with a veranda, you can have your deluxe ocean view veranda. And I don't know why they keep adding names. It just feels like there was an old lady that swallowed a fly. If you know, you know. But they just keep adding names. So instead of it just being veranda, no, it's got to be the deluxe because it's got the split bath. And if it can hold 3 to 4, maybe 5 people, then it's deluxe family. And because it's got an ocean view, because it's a veranda, it's deluxe family ocean view veranda. And then it might be with restrictions. So it might be that it might be blocked or might have a white wall, whatever, something like that. And so it's just a whole sentence. I'll try to put one here so you can see it. So you can kind of tinker around with that. And then there's Concierge. And Concierge, again, this is Disney Cruise Line 101, so we're going to get real basic. Concierge is Disney's elevated experience that costs a lot of money. That means that they're going to have first dibs on all the things. They've got a dedicated team to support them. There is a indoor lounge. I think all the ships have an outdoor sun deck just for people that have paid a premium for this service. Do you need this service to have a great time on Disney Cruise Line? No, you don't. Have we ever used it? No, we haven't. We have 4 kids. I would like to go on many more cruises than I would having a deluxe experience. I don't need that fancy in my life right now. But if you do, go for it. It is an incredible experience. Disney service and quality is already impeccable. And then they provide how do you even level up from that? But they do. So if that is something you are interested in, have the wallet for, have the desire for, this can be a product that is perfect for many people that are in that price point and want that experience. It's just not us. So I apologize if videos in the future, if we don't ever hear me talk about Concierge, unless somebody's going to sponsor me to go check it out, which would be very funny. So if you know someone or want that experience, let me know in the comments below. I probably won't be paying for it because I have a lot of things on my bucket list to get through before I would choose something like that. So that's Concierge. Amazing experience, just not something you're going to see on this channel. Okay, let's talk about the decisions you have to make when you book. So when you go through the booking process, whether it's online, whether it's over the phone, whether it's with the travel, like, doesn't matter how you do it, you need to know the name and date of birth of every person that is involved in your party, your stateroom, whoever you're paying for, okay? You're also going to need to know, do you want early dining or late dining? You can always change this later, except early dining a lot of times sells out and you'll have to be put on a wait list if that's something you want. They will also ask if you want to do prepaid gratuities and if you want the vacation protection plan. You do not typically need to make those decisions when you're booking. Like, you can say no and then you can always add them later, but it will depend on what type of, room you're getting. Now, when to book. So what we've just discussed is if you're like booking early on, but as you get closer to the sale date, there might be more bookings that pop up, called the guarantee rates. So Disney's always coming out with more offers, but the one that you'll see like when you're in the room selection piece is the guaranteed rates. So this is your IGT, your OGT, your VGT, and this just means Disney's picking the room for you. Now, is it a big deal? Yes or no? Who should do this? Should anyone do this? Yes, there are people that should do it. These people are, you ready? If you, number one, have flexibility. So that means like your work you don't have to like decide your vacation time a year in advance. Yeah, that's you. Number two, if you are low commitment, if you do not have kids, you don't have a spouse, you don't have a lot of things keeping you down at home, yes. And number three, if you do not have a lot of children that are running around that you need adjoining staterooms with, this could be perfect for you. So who is the IGT maybe not the best for, or who should be booking early? Okay, the people that need to be booking early come in like 3 categories. They are as follows. Number one, if you need an accessible stateroom, you have to book as soon as you can because these accessible staterooms go fast and there are very few of them that are adjoining. And so if you want an adjoining accessible stateroom, you need to get on that like yesterday because the likelihood of someone getting either one of those rooms is much higher than like, all the other rooms on the ship. And Disney never discounts accessible rooms. So unfortunately, like you're not going to be able to do the IGT, OGT, VGT with an accessible room. It's frustrating and it sucks because you should still be able to get a discount if you have a disability. And especially because sometimes Disney will give those rooms to non-disabled people if they aren't booked that end up having like that guaranteed rate. It's just annoying. Okay, number two, if you know the dates of your sailing and they are in the holiday season, if you get my drift, i.e. Christmas or New Year's, you need to book those ASAP because those prices are astronomical up front, but they only get higher because it's the holidays. So just pay the big bucks up front if that's a date you care about, and I guess just suck it up. Or if it's spring break or summer, and you know the specific dates that you need to sail, just go ahead and book it opening day. And then if a better rate comes out, if you're using a travel agent, they'll be able to help you make that happen. And then finally, if you have a bunch of children like us. So we have 4 kids and we need 2 staterooms. That looks like it's 4, but we just need 2 staterooms and we want them connecting. If you want a connecting stateroom, you really should book early. However, you can do the guaranteed booking, but there are no guarantees with the guaranteed. I know, it's so funny. I didn't mean to be punny, but it's funny. So with the guaranteed room, they will try. So when they get all of the requests, so like once they get through all the guarantees, so everybody's done booking and they're like trying to assign rooms, they do prioritize families. And what they try to do is they try to do families and connecting staterooms. And if they can't do connecting, they will do side-by-side staterooms. So if they're not connected, they'll be side-by-side. If they can't do side-by-side, they try to do very, very close by. If they can't do very, very close by, they'll do on the same floor. If they can't do on the same floor, they'll try to do close by on different floors. Got it? So, but there's no guarantees. So if you want that guarantee, then you should book early. Okay, one last thing to know about the booking process is what kind of documents you might need to sail on a Disney cruise. And typically you're going to need a passport. But if you are traveling from the United States, like if it's a closed loop, so from somewhere in the United States and then it comes back to somewhere in the United States, you can go without a passport. So this could be like a sailing round trip from Port Canaveral, or round trip from Galveston, or round trip from San Diego. But this is not okay like if you're going round trip from Vancouver. Even though it's to Alaska, which is in the United States, it starts in Vancouver, it ends in Vancouver, you have to have a passport. So that is something to look into. If you need travel docs, you should check that out. Even for kids, we always get our kids passports because traveling with things like birth certificates is just, it just scares me. So we get our kids passports, but that's just something to look into before you book. If you're booking really, really far in advance, you've got time to get those things. Like we have booked a trip when our child wasn't even born yet, so which is crazy. But we booked a trip like a year and a half out in advance, and she was due 6 months later, and then we had to wait. So you can do that, and that is okay. And there are other options for travel documents, but you just need to look into that. Okay, I think that covers everything in the realm of booking. If not, leave a comment below and tell me what I missed. Next up in this series is going to be all about packing and prepping for a cruise. And I'm going to be de-influencing all of it and telling you what you really need to bring and the mistakes that we've made along the way when we've been packing for cruising. Okay, I hope this helps. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye, y'all.